Hello, this is AJ with a.j.farzad LOA.com. This is a LOA practical lesson. So one of the things that Abraham-Hicks teaches as far as the law of attraction and what I am encompassing in this science and behavior of success using the law of attraction is this concept of taking the path of least resistance. So if you remember, law of attraction states, in my terminology, the way I understand it best, is that we think thoughts, they create emotions. Those emotions will attract to themselves opportunities to feel the same. So when Abraham-Hicks teaching tells us that we have this internal mechanism, our feelings, the emotional scale, being able to catch when we are not feeling good at the earliest will allow us to send out emotions that will attract to them things that are beneficial to us as opposed to harmful. So in the concept of sales, for example, sales and trainings, when you are talking to a customer and you think you understand their needs and you provide the solution and the customer says, I don't want that, what is that feeling that is generated and what is the path of least resistance depends on how you feel about what you're going to say next. We all know in sales that if someone just doesn't want your product, it's very difficult to change their mind right there and then. When people are set in their idea of what they want, it's very difficult to change their minds immediately. So arguing with them and trying to push your product anymore and trying to bring in more information about how it is that your product is good for them is rarely beneficial. So in this situation, when you are faced with a customer that tells you they don't want your product, you obviously are not feeling good. And if you can catch it immediately though, you won't go down by default. So now that the situation is turning to negative, you won't feel negative and hence you won't attract more negativity. So perhaps you can, instead of disappointment, you can go ahead and reach for something that feels a little bit better, maybe hope. And that hope can be used in this perspective of path of least resistance as discussing it with the customer as perhaps, dear Mr. Customer, perhaps I didn't understand exactly what your needs was. And go back to the dialogue, right, to understand exactly what is it that they need. And sometimes when the customer can explain their needs to you, and if your solution was the best, maybe they can convince themselves that your solution is right for them, and maybe they can come up and explain to you what is it that brought them to reject your solution, right? It's very easy for us to convince ourselves once we think that we are in control of the conversation. And that's what this path of least resistance will allow you to do, right? So you're not fighting against the momentum of your customer that is going negative, because it's going to be a very difficult fight and nobody's going to win, especially you. Because even if you win this, then you're not going to really have a repeat business with a customer that you just forced into submission, so to say. So the path of least resistance of going and saying, hey, maybe I didn't understand your needs. Let's talk about it some more. Perhaps I have something else or other solution. Or at least for my clarity, maybe you can explain to me that maybe this is why is it that my solution does not fit your needs, so I can learn from it for my next customers. Do you see how softer, how less resistance it is than trying to force feed the customer that no, my product is good for you. I understand what your need is. I have done my due diligence. I brought in all of my team. I have worked really hard. This is the best solution for you. I'm trying to help you, damn it. You need to take this. It doesn't work that way. That is not the path of least resistance. And the more you go through that, you can, even in this joking scenario that I'm putting to you, you can see that the feeling changes, right? The feeling goes to disappointment, then disbelief, and then sort of like anger that, hey, I've done all this work. I know it's good for you. And just kind of powerlessness, right? So we went down this emotional spectrum to a point that I feel powerless because I have the solution for you and yet you don't want to take it. As opposed to, disappointment going to hope. Maybe I didn't understand the solution that you wanted. Maybe I didn't understand your need. Then from hope to positive expectation. Maybe I do have something else, or perhaps we can discuss your needs and we can both get clarified as to what your needs are. And you see how I'm going up the emotional scale as opposed to going down the emotional scale. I hope this makes sense to you, and I hope you can benefit from it. Don't forget to sign up for my free newsletter and find out about my free webinars and courses. Until next time, to your success. Thank you for listening, and if you would like to have this type of training for your organization, please email me at aj@a.j.farzad.com. To your success.